leaving behind puzzles that no one has been able to solve to this day. Buckle up and let's Supposedly written by a man named James Maybrick, a wealthy cotton merchant, describing the murders as if he were the Ripper himself. These diaries made people re-examine the case from scratch, but still firm. All right, folks, as we walk down this long road, get ready to hear one of the most terrifying stories in history. A story about a killer who became a legend, turning the streets of London into a stage for gruesome crimes. His name still sends chills down anyone's spine, even after more than 130 years. This is the story of Jack the Ripper, the killer who escaped the police, leaving behind puzzles that no one has been able to solve to this day. Buckle up and let's dive into the tale. Everything started in the autumn of 1888 in Whitechapel, one of the poorest and most dangerous areas of London at the time. Narrow streets, dim lighting, and cold winds swept through the alleys like wandering spirits. Taverns were packed with people trying to drown their sorrows in alcohol, and poor women struggled to make a living by any means possible. And the night hid many secrets, the darkest of which was Jack the Ripper. The first murder occurred on August 31st, when people discovered the body of Mary Ann Nichols, one of the women working the streets. Her body was brutally mutilated, and her eyes were wide open, as if she had stared death in the face. The police were confused, thinking it was just another murder in a crime-ridden neighborhood. What no one knew was that this was the start of a series of killings that would shake the city. The second murder happened 10 days later, and this time the victim was Annie Chapman. The police found her body in front of an abandoned house, and what shocked them was the precision of the killing. It was as if the murderer had some expertise in anatomy. The police began to focus on the details and noticed that every victim was mutilated in the same way. This could only mean one thing. The killer wasn't just a madman, he was someone with a bizarre kind of knowledge. A month later, something happened that drove the police insane. On the night of September 30th, Jack the Ripper committed 2 murders in the same night, just an hour apart. The first victim was Elizabeth Stride, and strangely, she was killed quickly without being mutilated like the others, as if the killer had been interrupted. An hour later, the police found the body of Catherine Eddowes, and this time the mutilation was even more horrific, as if the killer was making up for the time he had lost. The precision of the cuts was extraordinary, as if performed by someone with medical or butchering skills. The police were lost, but what made things worse was a letter that arrived at the police station. The letter was supposedly from the killer himself, signed as Jack the Ripper. It was filled with mockery of the police, cold words about the murders, and even threats of more killings. The newspapers published the letter, and the entire city was gripped by real terror. No one knew who the killer was or what he wanted. The biggest mystery came when the Ripper fulfilled his threat, killing a 5th victim, Mary Jane Kelly, the most horrific murder of them all. Her body was found in a small room, mutilated in a way that left even the investigators traumatized. The whole neighborhood was awake that night, yet no one heard a thing, as if Jack the Ripper had vanished into thin air. This was the last time the Ripper was seen. It was as if the ground had swallowed him whole. In the months that followed, the police interrogated hundreds of people. There were over 100 suspects, including doctors, butchers, wealthy men, and even theories suggesting that the killer was a member of the royal family. But none of them could be proven. Jack the Ripper was always one step ahead, remaining an unsolved mystery to this day. Years later, diaries emerged, supposedly written by a man named James Maybrick, a wealthy cotton merchant, describing the murders as if he were the Ripper himself. These diaries made people re-examine the case from scratch, but still, nothing was confirmed. Another strange theory suggested that the Ripper was a doctor named William Gull, the Queen's physician, and that he was killing these women to cover up a scandal that could have rocked the royal family. But again, no solid proof emerged, and all of it remained speculation. Over time, Jack the Ripper became more than just a killer. He became a legend. The killer who made London's streets shut down early and left behind more questions than answers. Even today, with modern technology and DNA analysis, no one has been able to solve this mystery definitively. Some people still visit the locations of the murders, walking the same streets that the Ripper did, as if trying to solve the mystery themselves. This story makes us wonder, how could one man plunge an entire city into fear, and how did his crimes remain unsolved for so long? Maybe there is an explanation, or maybe the mystery will remain unsolved forever. But one thing is certain, the name Jack the Ripper will live on as long as this mystery does. If you like this story, make sure to follow me, because I always have more terrifying and mysterious tales to share. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you on another journey soon.